What is up, everybody? Hutch here. Welcome back to the channel and to episode 3 of the Jeep Liberty project. In this video I'm going to do a lot of rust removal, and right here I'm picking up where I left off. All the rust that I found on the interior I'm putting on Seal and then some rust preventative spray paint. And in the next clip you will see I removed the rocker panels, and this is what was behind it. So I went ahead and removed that first outer layer, and this is all the rust that I found. So in this video, this is my main focus, is to get rid of this rust, get some new rocker panels welded on, and then do a little bit of body work. So admittedly, I might have gone a little overboard with the full painter's suit, but full disclosure, I don't work at a body shop and I'm not a mechanic, so I wasn't sure what to expect here. It wasn't as bad as I thought, so the full painter's suit was a little overboard, but it may have helped protect me a little bit. So at least I have my face gear on and my gloves. Anyways, I am just using a bunch of tools. I think I put a grinder wheel on the grinder. I used the cutting wheel. I used wire brushes. I used all kinds of things to try and get rid of as much rust as I can, especially the flaky rust, because the next step is going to be applying the Seal, and I want to try to give that the best surface to bond to. So after I was finished removing as much rust as I could from that rocker panel area, I went ahead and sprayed it down with some all-purpose cleaner, and then I used my pressure washer and just cleaned it up the best I could, getting all the loose particles and rust and dust and everything off of it to get it ready for the next step to spray on the Seal. So here I'm starting to apply the core seal, and it goes on white and then it turns black once it's reacted with the rust. And I tried using a spray gun here on my air compressor, and I just wanted to try it just to see, I wanted to get into some of those larger holes, and it worked for that, but it wasn't putting it on as thick as I wanted it to. So you'll see me go over areas a few times. It was something nice to try, but in the future I'm just going to apply it by brush. So here you can see what it looks like after the core seal has sat, and it turns it black, which is a good thing. And so you wait 24 hours, it's a primer, and then you can spray paint over it. Okay, so I got the core seal put down pretty thick. The instructions say that when it turns black, that's a good thing, and then wait 24 hours to apply a top coat. So for me, it's just going to be a rust inhibitor spray paint that I've been using on little spots around the vehicle. Yeah, I sprayed it on thick, and I just went to the frame right there. I'll go ahead and spray paint like I said. Alright, so it has been 24 hours since I laid the core seal on the rockers, and it looks good. Everything is black. The black color is a good thing. And let me go back here. It's all black under there. That's great. As I've applied before, I'm going to apply this rust stop to everything that I sprayed with the core seal. Probably 2 coats. And then I'm going to also use fluid film after that dries. And the fluid film will go in these holes, will go in there. I'll spray as much rust stop in there as I can, but mostly I'm gonna put the little nozzle on the fluid film. I'm just gonna go to town with the fluid film. The fluid film will eventually, once I get the entire undercarriage cleaned up, it will eventually be applied to all of this. So I'm gonna get set up and get to work on applying this rust stop. Well, since I'm going to be underneath the vehicle, I figured I'd better wear this and some eye protection. I'm leaving my face mask on for a minute. Okay, so there it is. One coat, and it makes a pretty big difference. Yep, I think it looks good. A lot of what was right here wasn't, I suppose, what they call tight rust. And I think some of this over here, which I did clean up a bit, was what they call flaky rust. And it's, besides cutting all the rusty parts off, that was my main concern, was the flaky rust, because the core seal does way better. Okay, so here is the passenger side, and this side, believe it or not, is actually in better shape. More of the panel is still on here. I'm just gonna cut right along this line until I get here. I'm gonna see how much of this is still good and if I can keep it. See how the slip-on rocker panel fits with this, because I just want to give my guy as much surface area to weld onto as I can. The good part is that looks like a lot of this stuff under here is, I mean, there's some flaky rust, but it still feels pretty solid. Now, there's a lot of stuff underneath, but it's not in good condition. So that's all gonna come out. I mean, I can just break this off. So that all needs to come off. Yeah, that's all coming off. So it's the same story as the other side. This part, you're gonna need to do something here, fill this void. But I think what I've left on over here is good. This seems pretty good. On the inside, you can just throw a little coil seal in here. This part seems good. Some surface rust here and there, but I think I can keep a lot of this. So that is good. Alright guys, a little update on the Jeep, and I'm going to do a little work today. I had my neighbor put on these rocker panels for me, and the only other thing that he had to do was get a little piece of metal to go right here, and he did a good job. All this rough area is going to blend in once we paint it, so not too worried about that. All of this down here is going to be painted again or just fluid film. I haven't really decided what is the best option, but this was all painted before as I told you, so it looks really good. You can see the work that he did. He did a really good job. And so the only bad part about this side was that he could not weld anything on here, this big gaping hole, because this metal is so thin. He couldn't weld there. He left this gap here. So that is where my work comes in, and I went ahead and picked up some Bondo fiberglass resin, and I'm gonna go ahead and get to work on that today. So got sandpaper, 80 grit. There's multiple. There's 120. There's finer ones in there. There's even 60 in there. So I'm gonna start with 80. See how that does. Sand it down. Put the self-adhesive body patch just to kind of form the body panel the best that I can. It's not going to be perfect. And then I'm going to mix up the resin. There's the hardener. And I've got my measuring cups for that. Got my gloves. Got my cups to mix up in. Got my alcohol to clean the area with. Got my brush and just some cheap skewer sticks to stir with. So the process is I'm gonna put these on after I sand the area, clean it well with the alcohol,
stick these body patches on, form it to the best that I can. And these can always be cut, and this can all be sanded, which we will do when we get ready to paint, because we're going to paint this entire thing and sand it. You put the body patch on, mix the resin, put a layer of that down, put a layer of your fiberglass mat. I'll cut it to size, lay it down. It needs to overlap by, I think, maybe an inch or so. And then you continue to put your fiberglass resin on top of that to saturate the fiberglass mat. So I'm going to go ahead and get the measuring, mixing, sanding, doing all of that, and then I'll get back with you guys. Guys, it actually clears the door. This part is having a hard time staying down. Can't get it to stick to this part right here. But it is actually clearing. Hopefully you guys can see this. Yeah, other than that part sticking up. I'm hoping this is actually helping form it a little bit too for me. But yeah, it's actually helping it stay down. Yeah, hopefully that fiberglass resin helps it stay in place. One thing I didn't mention from before is that this rocker panel, this is certainly not any of my neighbor's fault. This is just the design of the rocker panel that I bought. It does rub a little bit right. I don't even know if you guys can see that. So, it rubs right there. Just for a little bit while the door is closing. But no big deal. Hopefully it doesn't mess up my resin once I set that, but it just is that little movement right there. So yeah, I'm just gonna have to live with that, but no big deal. Alright, time to mix up for some.
Okay, future Hutch here. Past Hutch wishes he would have done a little more research and watch some more YouTube videos on how to lay fiberglass mat, because as you can see, I'm laying the fiberglass mat down dry, then putting the resin over top of it. I did about 2 or 3 coats, and I think it was on my 3rd coat I talked to a friend. He's super smart guy. He's probably done this a time or two. And I just mentioned what I was doing, and he happened to mention that you soak the fiberglass mat in the resin, then you lay it on the vehicle. I was like, dude, that sounds amazing, because what happened the way I did it here is there was a few ripples in the mesh body panels that I put on. And so it started to create holes. And if I were to soak the fiberglass mat, then put it on, I don't think I would have had those holes. I would have been able to push the air pockets out a lot easier. And this created such a mess. The resin ate right through those cheap dollar general plastic cups, so that's why I switched to this measuring cup here. So yeah, my future, I think my last coat, I did it where I soaked the fiberglass mat, and it worked out so much better. So it would have saved me a lot of headaches, but here I'm just explaining more stuff about how it's hardening and how it's holding, and well, I'll just let Past Touch take it away.
It's hard. Trying to decide if I need a second coat. Probably, just to ensure that it's on there real hard. There's a lot of bumps in here too. Hopefully a second coat can level it out, but the plan for today is just to trim off some of the extra. And I've got some extra here, got some extra back here that I want to trim off. This is just there to hold it, so I want to trim it, and then I want to try to start sanding. All I have right now is real cheap sandpaper, and I use that just to prep the surface. I think what I'm going to need to get while I'm out getting another paintbrush is get a sanding block. I think that'll work a lot better, so I'm going to get after it. So here's the work that I've got done with the body patch. It's been a little while. I've done 3 layers of the fiberglass resin and sanded it in between each time. I didn't keep you guys in for all of that because it's kind of boring, kind of the same process. And then I did 2 coats of or 2 applications of body filler because there were still some holes that were left from it, some air bubbles, so I filled them in with this body filler. And so this is hopefully my final application of the body filler, because I'm kind of done doing this hole, honestly. Kind of finished with it. Just want to be done. So this is going to be my final sand. Figured I'd bring you guys in for this, so I went ahead and cleaned all this edge up. I'm going to do some more sanding, and hopefully I can be done with this today, hopefully. Okay, that did not take long at all. I'm gonna call that good for now. I'm gonna get you this side view here. You can see there's a big hump right here. And there's still a few holes here and there, but it's solid. Yeah, like this spot right here. I'm gonna call it good because I've been working on this forever. I'm kind of done with it, but it's solid, and it filled in that hole, so I'm gonna call it good. We will be doing another sanding on it before we apply the bedliner paint to the Jeep. So I'm kind of done doing the sanding now, but if you can see, I have the Jeep up on jack stands, and so working on another project, taping that now, so stay tuned for that. But for this, I'm done for now.